It's our first review this week. Um, a biographical tale of somebody very well known nowadays.
Yes, indeed. We decided to watch Hillbilly Elegy, the child story of one Vice President J.D. Vance.
Yes, and of course, the book and the movie were made before he became vice president, but it's a good little window or story into the man's childhood and then his a little bit of his early life to give you a sense of just how far he's come in the last 25 years.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this one is I'm trying to think. Of course, at the end of the biopic, they did the thing they always do, where it's like, JD went on to do da 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 da. His mother
Mhm.
went on to do da 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 da.
Yeah.
Um, I don't remember them even saying that he had gotten into politics specifically.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they didn't mention it. When did he get elected to the Senate? That was
Uh,
in.
uh, let's see here. Let's find out. I know that just because of a video clip I happened to watch the other day that he was on ABC commenting on the presidential election that year. So he was already at least politically adjacent by that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and this movie came out in 2020. It was a straight to Netflix movie, which I'm assuming they wrapped up the filming and everything
Mm.
before the
Okay,
before the lockdown.
so he wasn't a senator until 2023.
Oh, okay.
So he probably was like some sort of okay. He was I okay. You know what? Let's I am not sure how to look into this further without slowing things down. So let's
It's okay. All
focus
right.
back on the actual movie.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so the movie tells the story of as we said, the life of JD Vance, and it's basically kind of goes back and forth between two different time periods between uh
Almost. No, actually, no. You're right. It is two different time periods because the flashbacks are mostly moving in forward direction.
right, yeah. And so it goes to his childhood, which specifically like the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. And then to 2011, when JD was, I think he just got out of law school.
Yeah. You're right. He was trying to get his first internship.
Right. Yeah. And specifically, he's trying to get an internship with the law firm in DC because his girlfriend, who is now his wife, was getting a similar internship or job in DC.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And yeah. And so but then he gets a call from his sister that their mom is trying to or she overdosed on heroin, and that's when we get into uh, the backstory with his childhood, with the struggles of growing up with his mother, who was a drug addict, single mom. She was always going from one guy to another, and she was also very abusive towards him and to JD's sister, and of course in the background, watching it all is JD's grandmother, Mama, uh, who
Not Mima, Mama. Important difference.
yes, and yeah, and Mama is played by Glenn Close, and then JD's mother is played by Amy Adams.
Which I gotta say, it must have been a relief to both of those actresses to go, oh, I don't have to be on a weird diet. I can just enjoy the occasional carb while I'm portraying these characters.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're actually playing real people and not like characters in a comic book movie.
Yeah, like it's finally an acting role I can sink my teeth into a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Here, we also have Gabriel Basso as JD Vance, who Daniel noticed was the accused in our movie we reviewed a few weeks back, juror number 2.
Yeah. And yeah, he's pretty pretty good likeness to JD.
Yeah, especially with like the way they cut his hair and made him up. He basically looked like a clone.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Yeah, so the movie is very much a melodrama about, just for, JD's life growing up in, a very rural southern Ohio town, almost Kentucky. Um and just kind of the various challenges of it all, like uh like I said, his mom going from, one guy to another, and then, uh, being physically and verbally and emotionally abused by her, and also, then when she marries one of the guys that she marries, as a kid of his own, and let's just say JD falls into a very bad crowd, and all that,
Yep.
drama with that.
Then he's saved by Mama when she moves out or she moves him out forcefully.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and she's basically the one that, yes, it saves him and puts him on the path that he ends up going on later in his life. And of course, we see all of this through uh, adult JD's memories, as he's once again having to deal with his mother's issues, and trying to get her into rehab, and
Yep, trying to bail out his mom on the day before the most important day of his life.
yeah, because he gets he gets the call that she's overdosed, and then that same day he gets
9 hours.
he's got to get in the car and drive 9-10 hours from back from Ohio to Connecticut, because he's at Yale, and to interview with the law firm. And so it's just and then like I said, it's just it's very hard hitting drama, and you definitely, I mean, regardless of how you might feel about the guy, you can't say that he didn't overcome a lot to get to where he is now.
Yep. So a few observations I have. First off, I did not realize that was Glenn Close. I am very bad at actually looking up who actors are before I watch these things, which I suppose is an advantage sometimes, because then I can just go, wow, they really transformed themselves for this role.
Yeah.
I'm used to Glenn Close having some sort of, how to say, air about her that she absolutely did not have as Mama.
No, she didn't. Yeah, not like she did in, like, like Fatal Attraction, or
Yeah.
or even Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, or even 101 Dalmatians for that matter.
Oh yeah.
And then Amy Adams as his mother, Bev. I've gotten into a rabbit hole on YouTube lately of watching a lot of cop camera footage.
I have
wonder
too,
if that's how she prepared for this role too.
probably.
Because Amy is very good at bringing that sort of I'm 3 beers deep and I know I'm in the wrong, but I'm going to fight back anyway perspective.
Right. Yeah.
That energy.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And Bev is I've known people who were that sort of unfocused, or not unfocused, that sort of bipolar-y,
Yeah.
where it does just randomly shift from laughing to it's almost kind of like that Joe Pesci scene from Goodfellas with "What am I, a clown to you?" Like you're just laughing and happy 1 minute, and then the next minute it's like like and she just does weird, unpredictable things a lot of the time.
Yeah. She goes from jovial to angry very quickly. Yeah.
Right. And she's jovial because she decides that because she and JD were dancing in a collector's card shop, he actually knocks over a stack of things, and the guy, and like they get into an argument, and she shoplifts a bunch of cards for him, and they drive away, and they're laughing and happy about this, and then it just like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how all those snaps came up, but they.
Yeah.
If they didn't, noise removal did its thing. Anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
Now I'll say that it is kind of like it is kind of a predictable movie in its own way, just because you kind of know that JD is not going to. I mean, even actually, okay, I could see somebody before he really got into the national spotlight in 2023
Yeah.
when he became a senator, watching this and just thinking it's the story of some lawyer.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it would still be interesting from that perspective, just because you basically know, okay, he's not going to end up, failing, but how does he succeed? And also, it's just like the dish girlfriend on like all the crappy stuff that happened to him as a kid,
Yeah. Yeah.
because like you keep thinking that it can't get any worse, and then Bev finds a shovel.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just oof. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if enjoyable is the right word, but I definitely found it interesting.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah. Yeah, and there were definitely moments in there where it was like I was getting very, tense. Where it's just like, oh god, come on, come on, come on, move on, you know.
Yeah. The other thing I thought was kind of interesting is that even adult JD still showed the signs of his upbringing and like the emotional hurt in him.
Yeah.
It definitely portrays his girlfriend and now wife Usha as a very steadying influence on him.
Hmm.
It's also kind of interesting how it seems like there's like it's like there's this generational trauma that started with Mama that got a little bit less with Bev and then got a little bit less with him and his sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're definitely way more adjusted than their mother.
Yes. Yeah, and which is I think very poignant little thing to kind of say, hey, you can break the cycle. Yeah.
Yep. And let's see here. What other? I know from a directing perspective. Before I was watching this, now this is probably because the last Ron Howard movie I saw was Solo: A Star Wars Story, which is not fair to put on him at all.
No, he was a hired gun on that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
it came in at the last minute.
I was going to joke like, oh, it's like they used to say back in the day, nobody ever got fired for choosing IBM. No one ever got fired for hiring Ron Howard. But no, I like the compositions. I like the shots.
Yeah,
I always could tell what was going on, except for I think there were probably a couple of chaotic scenes where you're supposed to be kind of off balance.
yeah,
Um, yeah, just an overall solid biography slash melodrama.
yeah. Indeed.
Um, and you did find yourself rooting for everybody the whole way along. I even teared up at one moment where I was like, "Ah, good for you, JD, you did it."
Yeah, yeah. I did too. Yeah, it's uh there's a certain amount of inspiration in this movie because like a lot of people will point to like that's in the United States of America is one of if not the only place in the world where somebody like JD can come from where he came from all the way to the White House.
Yep. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
now it's like, of course, not everybody can get there, but if you aim for
yeah,
that type of thing, you're bound to get somewhere good as long as you put in the energy.
yeah, yeah.
It is also kind of amusing to me that the movie poster we have here, and this is the movie poster they have on IMDb too, uh, chooses to portray his mother and grandmother rather than the
Yeah,
the main character,
yeah,
since it is, well, of course, they're the bigger names, but
yeah,
also they're the focal point, really.
yeah. They are. Yeah,
Now, I was of a mind of when I was watching this that it really made me think that JD is trying to kind of set himself up as the anti Barack Obama in the sense that he's basically our age, like late 30s.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think he's right at 40. Yeah.
yeah, he's like the only millennial thus far to have gotten into any seat in the White House.
Yeah.
Um, and it occurred to me that if I wanted to be cynical about this, uh, what he is showing here is very revealing and raw, but it isn't the sort of revealing and raw that like it mostly makes him look good.
Yeah. Yeah. Although they're like I
There
mentioned
is one
before.
scene where he nearly runs up and to try to bust a man's jaw because he dishonored his mother,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he pulled back, but that was still a moment of okay. Like in biblical scholarship, they talk about the criteria of embarrassment, which is like, okay, would the fact that they included this in the story probably means it happened because it embarrasses everybody involved.
Mm.
It's kind of like, okay, God, Saint Peter, you're screwing up again,
Yeah.
you big dummy.
Yeah.
like you probably know that Saint Peter screwed up repeatedly throughout those adventures.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sure they all did. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like Peter in particular always seems like the thickest disciple when you read it. Um, I
Yeah.
bring that up because that scene where he ran up the stairs and was about to bust down a door and beat a man,
Yeah.
uh, just for like a man who was in the right, and he pulled back. That's like,
Yeah.
okay, that's a moment that I believe actually happened pretty much as portrayed, because it does show that you have a dark side and a wild streak or a violent
Mhm.
streak in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that overall, if you just want to find out a little bit more about somebody who's probably going to be prominent for at least the next decade or so,
Hmm.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting on that level. But even if you had no idea who he was, I think that it would still work as a piece of art and melodrama.
Hmm.
Um, it's on Netflix. I hadn't realized it was a Netflix original.
Yeah. I think I may have remembered that at some point, but yeah, it's.
Yeah, which I guess makes sense for something being released November 24th. If
Mhm.
if it had been a Warner Bros. Thing, it would have been a Max original. But
Yeah. Yeah. They. Yeah, like I said, it was 2020 when it dropped, and I wonder if maybe they weren't thinking about trying to do a theatrical release, but then the lockdowns happened and they couldn't do it.
right, maybe Netflix gave him a better deal.
Yeah.